Guys, what's going on? This is Ash here coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends. Today we're going to take a look at a champion that is just absolutely insane. Similar to yesterday's video where we did a review on Drekstar Blood Twin, Doom Priest, the subject of today's video, is a champion that was always good, right? Always maybe slightly above average, maybe really good in specific areas. But now with the advent of Doom Tower inside this game, her value has absolutely skyrocketed to one of the most essential epic champions to have built on your roster. Hopefully we can prove that in today's video. What I want to do is arm you guys with, I guess, kind of 2, maybe 3 of the best builds for Doom Priest and give you guys some options, some choices depending on the team that you build around her and depending on the artifacts that you have, access to on your account. So why is Doom Priest so good? Well, against 2, maybe 3 of the Doom Tower bosses, she's S tier, at least 2, at least the Nether Spider and the Eternal Dragon. And who knows if they introduce, which I think they might, 2 more Doom Tower bosses for the 3rd cycle, the odds are she's probably going to be good against them too, because it seems like Plarium philosophically is moving in the direction of making these bosses, I guess, counter all the popular metas, right? So I guess you could argue that she's become meta for that reason, so maybe they'll counter Doom Priest on the next bosses. However, that aside, we're not dealing with so much turn meter and enemy max HP, at least as we did, on the 1st cycle of Doom Tower, especially with the introduction of both of the new bosses. So I look for Plarium to continue to do that, and Doom Priest is just an absolute stud. She's a champion that I want to be honest with you guys about. I slept on her for a while, even after Doom Tower, and it wasn't really until the Celestial Griffin and the Eternal Dragon were introduced to the game that I'm like, okay, Doom Priest is clearly going to be an amazing option here. Now, this is a less popular build, the Shield build. We'll also be building her in a Relentless set and giving you guys, this is why I said 2, maybe 3, giving you guys a 3rd option in case you don't have either of those artifact sets handy. So let's talk about her kit quickly. She has an increased crit rate, whatever, on their A1. On her mass possession, really honestly, kind of a whatever too. It's nice to have increased attack, obviously, on your team, so there's that. But that's all she's bringing to the table in terms of her active abilities, so not much. Now, notably here, mass possession, her A2, doesn't do any damage to anybody, which is actually helpful because a lot of these bosses, when you're attacking them, especially with an AoE attack, you attack the adds to the Nether Spider, the adds to the Eternal Dragon. That sometimes is not what you want to do because of the HP burn that you're trying to have grind those adds down, ergo doing more damage to the boss, right? So it's actually, in a weird way, it's nice that she doesn't have a lot of like AoE or damage dealing capabilities. On her A1, I will say this actually has a pretty good multiplier on it. It actually does a decent amount of damage, especially if you grab the War Master tier 6 mastery, which I would advise you guys do on this champion. About the passive, Bolster is really all you need to know about when we talk about Doom Priest. Heals all allies by 7.5% of their HP and removes 1 random debuff from them at the start of this champion's turn. Really handy. She's going to constantly be removing all of these debuffs that all of these bosses place that are incredibly annoying and tough to get around. On top of that, she's adding a solid heal every single time she takes a turn. And again, she's taking a turn. This is happening automatically. This is a passive ability. It's not like this is wasting a turn. It's just happening automatically at the start of all of her turns. So if we look at her aura, force, speed in all battles, whatever, again, nothing to write home about there. It's really just that bolster passive that makes her so amazing. So masteries. This is a very typical mastery tree for Doom Priest. She is, all things considered, a fairly easy champion to build, right? All you really want is her to A, not die, and B, take a lot of turns. C, and we're going to talk about that with the shield set, is you can get added utility keeping your team alive, especially if you're on auto attack and you don't have time to set the rotation and make sure everything is perfectly set up for when you go into these boss battles after the 2 waves. It's kind of nice to have that shield set. It buys you a little bit of time to get back into the swing of things, back into the rhythm of where you want the cooldowns to be on your champions. Anyway, support tree, getting the lasting gifts, kind of, again, whatever, increase the duration of that, increase crit rate, increase attack, also Spirit Haste, increase speed by 8 for each dead ally. Nice to have. Again, she is a support champion. On this build, Laura's still not helping us out at all, but on the next build it will, or I guess one of these builds it will help, trust me. But again, as we always say, guys, make sure you're reading the masteries before you select them.
Just don't tell me what I can't do.
War Master is a good tier 6 option. Again, get some more damage out of that 4 multiplier on her A1.
12 seconds later.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm right in the middle of it. Okay, here we go. Increase the amount of healing and the value of shield buffs placed by this champion by 10% if the target ally has 40% HP or less. Great to have. Lay on hands is increase the value of heals this champion casts by 5%. That really adds up a lot. In my opinion, this is a pretty much no-brainer support tree option on the support side of things. Again, it depends on what you guys want in terms of Evil Eye, Lore of Steel, but really solid to start out by getting these, grabbing these 3 masteries here on the support tree. You don't need any accuracy on this champion, so again, she's pretty easy to build. Truth be told, you don't even need crit rate, okay? Especially if you get War Master, it's doing damage based on enemy max HP anyway. It's not like you need to worry about having your crit rate at 100%. However, again, that A1, especially if you have her in Relentless, that damage will actually add up. So option number 1. Her base HP is a little over 19k, which we would call a little bit above average, probably well above average in terms of all the champions in this game. So that gives you the option of getting, again, extra, viability out of her, extra support out of her by putting her in a shield set. So build her out. In this case, I have 69k HP, a little bit of defense, a lot of speed, which we're really looking for in this champion, and that's about it. Some people choose to have her in high resistance as well. I think she does just fine without, focusing on resistance. But again, you guys make those decisions on your own based on, your own experience. So shield, again, all I'm really prioritizing in this build on the shield set is 2 things: speed and HP. A little bit extra defense is always good because those bosses hit very hard in Doom Tower, but that's really it, In a perfect world, I would also have that crit rate to 100%, but, that's the build. So what we're going to do is show you this build, and then we're going to talk about Relentless. Now, again, let me cover the 3rd build really quickly here, guys. I'm just going to be, make it super easy. All-out speed. You can run triple speed sets or lifesteal if she's dying. Again, I guess I'm giving you 4 builds here, but I'm not going to show you the speed and the lifesteal. It's pretty self-evident what she's doing. She's going very fast because the more often she goes, again, ergo having the Relentless set on her makes a lot of sense. Proccing those extra turns gives you another AoE heal on all your allies, and it removes another debuff just as, if not more important than the heal, okay? So again, guys, shield just adds a little bit extra to the table. Let's go ahead and show her in a shield battle, and then we'll swap over to Relentless because again, boom, extra turn. Thank you very much. We're still prioritizing speed as the main stat. So going over to Doom Tower here, guys, we're going to go floor 70 on the Nether Spider and Doom Tower hard. And again, this is a very, very good team, all here to support Drexstar Blood Twin. I showed this on yesterday's video too, so I won't show you the entire battle again, but I want to talk specifically, kind of hone in here, zero in on Doom Priest. Again, you'll notice the entire team is protected by a shield. Well, that's because of obviously Doom Priest, right? That's going to be helpful again if we get to the boss on auto, and of course it helps you anywhere where you're struggling with progression. You think you might die on any of these waves, even during a normal just random floor, one of the just random 3 wave floors inside Doom Tower, you can use her as your main support there as well, because let's face it, there's still a lot of debuffs, a lot of reasons to heal your squad, and a nice reason to have that shield buff on any of your champions, or shield set, excuse me, on any of your champions. So again, I love this team. I mentioned it in yesterday's video when we're talking about Drexstar, but I'll mention it again. It bears repeating. I love this team because you see how hard to strip that sleep away from Drexstar too? So nice. Every time she goes, boom, a nice little cleanse, a nice little heal as well. But the reason I love her in a team like this is look at it. Rector Droth, we have Doom Priest, we have Reliquary Tender. None of those are messing up with AoE attacks. We don't want to deal with a counterattack on all the Spiderlings. So let me just show you the battle. I'll be right back. All right, guys, here we are at the Spider, and you guys can see the setup is done, right? We had the shield early on. I cut a little bit late here, but essentially able to kind of get in the swing of things, get that HP burn on all of the Spiderlings, Sons too, at least right now. But you can see all those poisons. Now look at Doom Priest in the far corner. Every time she goes, boom, 1 less poison. reason. And when you see her in a second in Relentless, I'm going to switch her to Relentless before the Eternal Dragon battle, and you'll see again, when she gets that 18% proc on that extra turn, boom, it's even better. 2 debuffs removed, and then you get the 7.5 times 2 heal on all allies. She's single-handedly keeping this team alive here, and you can use her as an option. We're not going to show you Clan Boss in this video, but obviously a great choice on Clan Boss too, removing that stun before or that decreased attack or whatever you have before, you know, the champion's turn meter even fills. So there's a lot of utility you get out of her, and I feel like she is, you know, people slept on her for a long time, and now they're really either sleeping on her or finally the word is getting out. You guys be the judge. But if you don't recognize, I'm not just saying this to try to hype her up. Like, she's a champion I use on a lot of my main teams inside. This is my main team right now inside against Nether Spider. And maybe it's not the most optimized team that you know, on my entire roster, but I'll tell you what, it works 100% of the time. And as I always say here on the channel, me especially, you know, when I find a team that works, sure, I'll go back and I'll optimize maybe after a week or two or a month or two. But the biggest thing is I like to find a team that works every single time, set it and forget it on auto, and then maybe in the future I'll work on, okay, what can be a better option in this spot? I just like something that works, you know? That's a pretty small barrier of entry in terms of what I'm looking for from a team composition and from a specific champion. And you can see here again, we do have the extra cleanse of Reliquary Tender and the extra passive heal support of Rector Drath, who is so good as well. Really, Reliquary, Rector Drath, and Doom Priest are 3 of my absolute fave champions. And of course,
don't you dare, don't you dare.
Sylvan Drath. Those are some of my favorite champions in the game right now. And you can see we lost poor Reliquary Tender, but she will be picked up by Rector in just a moment. There she goes. And you can see no one's really messing with the Spiderlings here. It's just the HP burn taking away and doing a ton of damage to the Spider Mother. And this is how a very, very well optimized support team works. Slow, but optimized support team works against another Spider. So you guys kind of get the point. I'll come back to at you guys at the end so you can see the total stats. All right, guys, so be prepared to see a huge number in healing from Rector. There it is, 1.1 million in heals. As I said, Rector Drath is a healing absolute just beast in this game. Doom Priest about half of that amount of healage, but again, think of all the preemptive heals, if you will, that we got from Doom Priest, more than Rector Drath when you add up all of those poisons being removed from the entire team. And of course, Drexstar comes through, no big deal, with 7 million damage, 292 on the heal on Drexstar is because he is in lifesteal gear. I'll remind you guys again about that video from yesterday. I was really happy with that Drexstar Blood Twin guide that we put out. All right, guys, let's go ahead and switch over to Relentless and then fight against the Eternal Dragon. I'll be right back. All right, guys, so I just rebuilt Doom Priest. I'm just kind of finishing up with the speed, trying to get that speed there, even with nice Relentless gear. A different complexion here to the total stats, a little bit slower here, but again, she does have Relentless. I also went with crit damage gauntlets on her to try to get a little bit of damage out of that A1. I want to really stress to you guys that this is just something I'm trying out, but I think the majority of you will want to go with defense, crit rate, or HP percentage on the gauntlets. Again, HP percentage was on her gauntlets when we went with that shield build. I don't think I showed you, my bad on that. So again, on the shield build, we had HP percentage on the gauntlets to help get extra HP to give a better shield to the wearer. We had HP as well on the chest. We're sticking with HP on the chest here, but we do have a little bit more defense built on her as well. We still have speed on the boots, and we're really looking for speed as the main substat. But again, I thought just to be fun, I would show you guys with crit damage on the gauntlet just to see what type of damage she can put out on her A1 with a kind of a nuker-esque build, you know, with that speed in the Relentless. All right, guys, so starting with actually the Griffin, Celestial Griffin here. This is 450 of hard right now, and we have, again, a couple nice passive champions in Scylla the Drakes and Doom Priest, and then we have some ally attack action going on with Phoenix. Phoenix is also our debuffer, decreased defense, and then we have the HP burn of Drexstar Blood Twin. I'm gonna come back at you guys when we actually get to the boss. All right, guys, so against the Griffin here, we're already well underway, and we've already procced, and my bad, I was a little bit late. We made quick work there, even though it's been 2 minutes. We made quick work, but we've already procced a few Relentlesses, so clearing off all of the debuffs that essentially he applies onto our team that we applied onto him, because it's all about transferring. It doesn't really matter because we're going to cleanse them all away. And again, this sort of a team works really well. We have an ally attack with a strong, hard-hitting A1 in Fenax, and then we have 2 support champions again in Syl the Drakes with the heals and in Doom Priest with the heals, and it just works, synergizes very, very well. You can see we make quick work of the of the Celestial Griffin here. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Eternal Dragon. But you guys kind of see your options here, right? You have the Relentless, a chance at proccing the double cleanse, the double heal. We lose her there, noteworthy, but she'll be revived by Syl the Drakes, right? Or you can just go with high speed with that shield. Now, in a battle like this, the shield's just going to be removed anyway by the boss, so it really depends on what you're looking for, and it depends on if you're running Doom Priest in multiple areas inside the game. Me personally, I gravitate a little bit towards the Relentless set, believe it or not, because I just know how much value she has in Relentless gear, and this ends up being a one-man show at the end, but Drexstar gets the job done. But again, solid healing from both of our passive healers in this contest. Syl the Drakes and Doom Priest, you gotta love it. And then 1,000,000 damage, no big deal from Drexstar Blood Twin. All right, so let's go one more time here. Let's go against Eternal Dragon. Be right back when we assemble a friendlier team than this. Syl the Drake. Yeah, be right back. So here against the Eternal Dragon. I could have shown you the final boss again, but I'm going to be cognizant, and that team is, has 3 Void Legendaries on it. So instead, trying to have a more accessible team.
Yeah. True.
And again here, it's all about passives, right? So block cooldown skills does not really matter if we're getting a bunch of passive heals from Syl the Drakes, from Drexstar, Blood Twin, passive HP burn, and then the passive heals from Rector Drath, and Reliquary Tender is in Relentless set as well. You guys know whether it's Relentless set on Apothecary, Relentless set on Reliquary Tender. I'm just a big fan of having my best support champions, my cleansers, in Relentless gear if you guys can get your hands on it, okay? So here we go, guys. Other champions that I have in Relentless gear is Dracomorph. Basically, Venus, I have in Relentless gear. Basically, champions who are so insanely good on the offensive end that, you can get so much more value out of them going again. And then I have, again, my support champions. Champions like Vrask, champions like, I could have Rector, but I don't. Champions like Reliquary, champions like, again, Apothecary, and in this case, Doom Priest. So champions that are getting a lot of value out of their passive all make great options for Relentless gear. I know we get that question sometimes in the comments. Okay, Relentless gear is good, but who is it good on, Ash? Again, people with passive abilities or people who are just insanely good. You put Relentless on an insanely good champion, generally speaking, they're doing more of what they do best, right? I'll talk a little bit more about Relentless when we get to the boss. All right, guys, here against the Eternal Dragon, you guys will see how the battle works. Of course, this dude is putting our skills, our block cooldown skills, all of our skills off cooldown, but again, that's where those passives really come in handy. Even on Drexstar, applying the HP burn every time he is attacked, and I think, an 80% clip. So Relentless did get a nerf that I feel like I should mention in this video because we talked a lot about Relentless gear, in general, and it got a nerf, but a very, very small one. I feel like a lot of people overreacted. Essentially, people were, I hate to say abusing, but they were really using the skills that proc an extra turn. Think about like Seeker's A2 to proc, an extra turn and then an additional extra turn. After that extra turn, they would stack essentially the extra turns of the Relentless set and the abilities. It's no longer like that. But for example, if the Relentless gear procs and then the champion goes into their skill that grants an extra turn, that will work. It's just not going to happen at the same time anymore. Again, that makes champions that have an ability that grant an extra turn synergizing with Relentless not so much of a thing anymore, but that doesn't mean the set is still not amazing. One of the better sets out there, of course, hard to get because it's primarily only available through special tournaments and events. Anyway, here we go, guys. Things looking pretty good, kind of setting up our HP burn against the ads here and just allowing the rest of the support champions to heal everybody up. Of course, the removing a random buff is is not always going to work against buffs that cannot be removed. So just take that into consideration, especially if you're using Doom Priest is not really a popular champion in the arena, but just kind of noteworthy there that it's not going to remove unremovable buffs unless you talk about the broken synergy between Plarium Tuneout right now. Close your ears, all you Plarium employees listening right now in the video. She does remove the block cooldown skills off of Umbral Enchantress, so you can use that combo together if you guys want. You know, her essentially going into the Undying Evil, her A3, it will remove that 5-turn block cooldown skills if you have her on the same team as Doom Priest. So a nice little synergy there. Listen, guys, this battle has taken a while, but as you can see, the team is nice and healthy and, you know, staying alive here essentially. So I'm going to come back at you guys at the end of this battle. We'll take a look at the final stats, the final kind of numbers, and then we'll wrap this video up. Be right back. All right, guys, so at the end of the day here, we had Drexstar coming through with 3.6 million damage and HP burns, and again, an impressive number here, both from Doom Priest and from Rector Drath in terms of their overall healing, and heck, even from Syl of the Drakes. So there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed this updated kind of multi-build video on Doom Priest. Let me know if you want to see any other champions that we kind of revisit, especially champions who have a lot more viability now with the advent, again, introduction of Doom Tower inside the game. Thank you for watching all the way till the end of the video. I appreciate you guys, and as always, take care, guys.